Namaste and a warm welcome to another episode of MANOVAAC. Today we will be discussing about health, human body and nutrition. Guruji, the first question is why the human body is considered as God's best creation?
Yeah, there are a number of reasons why we consider the human body as, let's say, the Creator's best uh, creation of the species, of various species. Uh, Firstly, they say we are made in the image of God. Now, you will say, but God does not have an image. Uh, well, divinity takes certain forms. And because human beings connect to forms, that is why, because it's very difficult for a human being to connect to the abstract or the formless. So divinity takes certain forms and also to perform functions on the planet. Uh, Therefore, the form in which divinity comes onto the planet, in that same form, it has made human beings. Now, what separates us from, say, the animals or other species, insects and fishes and fowls and birds and stuff, is the fact that we are given of the full range of emotions, we are given intellect, we are given discrimination.
To understand the
To
creation
understand,
also.
to understand creation and to progress in a different way from the other species. Therefore, we are given a form similar to the one that God takes in to manifest on the planet. And because end of the day, the planet is functional for human progress, for human beings. I mean, everything else is in service of that,
In support of
in
that.
support of that. So this is God's best creation, and we have also evolved as human bodies. Also, we have evolved over a period of 150,000 years. We had those Neanderthal types. I mean, that is only maybe 10, 15, 20,000 years back. But civilizations have been there for more than that. I mean, there have been at least 6 cycles of 24,000 years, or what we call the yugas. So there have been various civilizations in that, and the form has sort of evolved gradually to what we now feel is the perfect form.
So a lot of experimentation had happened at God's
Absolutely,
level.
absolutely. I mean,
to-
nothing. The planet itself is a big experiment. So, yes, a lot of experimentation.
It wasn't like just
No, it wasn't
out of the blue
one.
and
No.
and
It evolved.
there
It
was
evolved.
the like human
No,
form.
it evolved.
Yeah.
It evolved.
So according to Charles Darwin's law, have we really evolved from apes?
Absolutely not. I mean, that is one of the biggest
I know.
biggest fallacies.
But we do see that monkey mind, what we
No.
call.
That is okay. That is okay.
us.
That is irrespective. But we have certainly not evolved from apes, and uh, the souls that have opted to be humans are humans from the very beginning. I mean, yes, you may have very gross qualities about you when you first start
Animal-like qualities.
animal-like qualities, but you're not an animal. I mean, the sense of discrimination, the intellect, and all is there. I mean, which the other species don't have, the apes don't have, or they have in a very, very limited way. I mean, extremely limited. So, certainly that's why they have what they call the missing link. They'll never find that link between ape and humans, because
There wasn't
humans
any.
will come as humans, and the apes, the animal species will end with its own evolutionary cycle.
So what we call Homo erectus, like when
with
that straight posture.
yeah.
So it wasn't like
It's not
evolved.
no. Maybe we didn't. You see, as I said, there were many
Humanoid.
humanoid forms. So there may have been large, very large 8, 9, 10 feet, 12 feet humans previously. I mean, thousands of years back. And they may have, sort of walked like apes or behaved like very similar to apes. But they were not apes. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, yeah, got it. Now
You
got
get my
it.
point?
Yes, Guruji.
So Darwin's, that theory of Darwin is bogus.
Okay, spiritually at least.
Absolutely.
Okay, Guruji. And what amazes me, and that is what the next question is, okay, after receiving such a beautiful gift, the most advanced body to enjoy and not to function with, why most of us tend to abuse it? It's by choice, it's ignorance, or what is it that makes us not take care of it?
A large part is ignorance, greed, unbridled desires, or carelessness. I mean,
It's by choice.
It's by choice, definitely. I mean, you are supposed to take care of this wonderful gift that you have of the human body. But you see, what happens is in your best earliest years, say from childhood to 40, the body is very resilient, and you tend to abuse it the most in this age.
Absolutely.
And don't realize it because it recovers very fast, and there's a, it's still in the process of growing. Now after 40 you don't grow, in the sense there's a deterioration of the body. So then you slow down, and then all that you've done hits you
Suddenly. The wisdom.
Yeah,
wisdom dawns.
no, and then the problems start hitting you.
Yeah, it manifests.
Exactly what you have
problems.
abused, the abuse that you have.
Yeah, it starts
It
showing
starts
on
showing
the
and manifesting,
physical
yeah.
body. And the next question in continuation is: we are living in an era where health is more often equivalent to outer beauty, and every year there are new diets or fad diets that we see.
Right.
Then there are ancient guidelines like in Ayurveda, which talks about sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic food. Most categories of food today would either be rajasic or tamasic, which we can call packaged, processed, refrigerated, etc. So this question comes from a yoga
Teacher.
expert and teacher. So she is asking, as a yoga aspirant, how far should we consider our daily food patterns without becoming obsessed about health and body? Because so far we can only go to either of the extremes, and striking balance
Is very
becomes
difficult.
difficult. And more you know, more it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
Confusing.
Confusing. So even like,
What do you follow?
and we cannot live now where you are getting absolutely fresh produce from the
Sattvic food.
farm and
Right.
Pesticide-free
unprocessed,
or-
Without-
pesticides free. So how does really body functions? And as a doctor, it's still doing very well, Guruji.
Yeah,
Like, which
the body is very
surprises me, huh?
adaptive. The body is very adaptive, but if you indulge far too much in tamasic food or rajasic food, then it has its consequences. And well, yes, I mean it's everyone's war cry not to eat junk food and stuff like that. But then our desires overpower us, and at times we can't avoid it.
Yeah.
I guess some balance or limitation is good if you can, but if you can look after your diet better, because and this Babaji always tells me that you are what you eat, So if you do pay a little attention to your diet and try to minimize the intake of say, all these processed foods or ones with heavy chemical input, then that much favor you are doing to your body.
That's right.
And some of the foods are ultimately carcinogenic. So they even result in cancerous growth in the body. But now everyone doesn't get affected by it. You see, it's in
Again,
each
yeah.
individual body reacts to these kind of
Absolutely.
chemicals differently. So you can't have a blanket ban. Okay, we ban this kind of food because it is dangerous for human beings. Some human beings may not be affected by it.
Absolutely.
So you have to see what
what suits
what
you.
works with you,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
suits you.
And that's right somewhere.
and
Each
that's,
body is also little different.
little different.
So
Absolutely.
what suits me
Each
may
body
not
is
suit
different.
another
Yeah,
person.
absolutely.
So it cannot be
So
like
as far as possible, you can try to regulate it according to your body type.
the thing is, Guruji, so much negative feedback comes to us, and that sometimes play on our mind. Ki, okay, we are
Sure.
cooking in non-stick pans. We are using
You take as
processed
much
food.
precaution as you can, but don't get obsessed by
Obsessed
it.
by it.
And see what suits your body and people who you cater to, your family or
That's
something.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So another question is, ki, okay, certain things we cannot avoid, but still, is it possible to maintain our health to some extent? And
Yes.
if that is true, then what we are supposed to do?
You can maintain your health besides the food aspect. You can maintain your health through many other aspects like yoga or kriyas or good exercise. Those are the things. Not getting obese. These are the things that you can do
And in
besides
your
the
hand,
food to
besides the
in
food.
your hands. Yeah, to having a more active life rather than a sedentary life. So you have to make those choices,
And
and
also,
your
you have
priorities are there.
emphasized on keeping your mind and emotions
Absolutely.
healthy.
Yeah.
So,
That emotional, mental makeup will definitely, but that'll affect you as sickness or disease. No, I'm talking about just general health.
general health.
Yeah, but there are other ways you can assist the body besides the food aspect.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Guruji. And the next question is, what should we consume more often as a balanced diet for the good functioning of this machine as an aid for higher Kriya practices? Because now you are taking us ahead in this spiritual journey. Should our diet also change as we like go ahead?
Well, your diet doesn't have to change drastically, but I'm not a nutrition or a diet expert. But one thing is that, as you mentioned earlier, don't go for fad
Fad
diets.
diets.
Okay, those are dangerous and those are temporary. So, my honest opinion and my honest advice to all people who follow kriyas and do yoga and stuff like that is eat balance, eat everything, but eat little. The point is, you don't
Indulgence.
need so
Quantity.
much
Quantity.
quantity. That is the most important thing in a diet. Eat everything, but eat little.
Yeah.
I mean, don't binge.
Yeah.
That's all.
The next question is, Guruji. Globally, today most people, for various reasons, want to try a piece of yoga or at least wonder what the hype is all about. Many aspire for health, others for bodily flexibility, and few for exploring beyond and spirituality through yoga. Which of these aspects is the need of the hour, or all of them are important at various time points for different individuals?
I think
Because
all
yoga,
of them. Yeah. I know yoga has become quite popular throughout the world, especially after the Modi government has come in. I mean, they've made yoga very popular, and rightly so. It is so beneficial. Uh, but I think you need it for all the three reasons. I mean,
Absolutely, I agree.
it's not that yoga is only for flexibility.
Flexibility.
I mean, it's not only the yoga asanas that have to be done, and then the rest of your life is just anyhow. So yes, you need for flexibility, you need for good health, and it is a stepping stone for spirituality. Because yoga is not just exercises; it is Ashtanga yoga, and there are firstly 8 avenues that you have to explore. But that again becomes a stepping stone for you to further explore, I would say, Sanatan philosophy. So yoga becomes your bedrock or your foundation for Sanatan philosophy.
True. The yoga word itself means union.
Union.
So
Union,
how
yeah.
can it be just limited to
It can't be limited to flexibility and good
exercise?
health. No, no, no.
I
It's much
think
beyond that, but it's a start. I mean,
it's
even
a
if you're
start. It's a
doing it
beginning.
for flexibility and good health, it's a good start. I mean,
And
that's not a problem.
everybody wants good health and flexibility.
Absolutely.
And another, since I'm also a practitioner of yoga, Guruji, these asanas are not just postures.
No.
They are meant to stretch our nadis. They are meant
Yes,
to have
yes.
some effect on
They,
chakras.
they are,
So they
of
do
course,
have some spiritual
they have
benefits.
not a spiritual implication, but they have a subtle implication, meaning they're not only for the muscles and the nerves,
Nerves.
they are also for the subtle body, which has your nadis or your channels of energy and the chakras. So, yes, they're related both to the physical body and the subtle body.
What amazing technique our rishis have invented, Guruji. Really
Definitely.
fascinated.
And it's relevant even today after thousands and thousands of years.
Absolutely, absolutely. So much research is being conducted on this topic, and it is believed that providing the science behind the practice would help yoga to penetrate the mainstream. How far will yoga therapy in hospitals and research can bring about an impact or necessary change, or is there any avenue for research in yoga?
Yeah, there are institutions that do research in yoga and research connected to health. Means they try to link health and yoga together
Or as a therapy for some
as a therapy for
diseases?
certain diseases. But you see, the limitation comes in because the moment uh, these medical researchers dabble with the unseen or the subtle body, and when you talk to them about nadis and chakras and meridians of energy and stuff like that, then they said, "Hello, this is not our field." Like, and we can't deal with something we cannot see or we cannot prove. So what happens with research in yoga is that it can be done up to a certain point, but beyond that, if you want empirical proof all the time to do further research, then that's not going to come, because till you can see the subtle bodies and the way the subtle bodies work and their interaction with the physical body and how they affect the physical body, you're not going to understand yoga further.
Yes.
When you don't do that, obviously you can't push it as a proper medical therapy in hospitals and clinics. And doctors will not subscribe to it. So this is the limitation that comes in where research on yoga is concerned.
Considered.
So yes, you can have certain theories and you will have a group of people who will swear by it. But you cannot force the doctors and the medical community to subscribe to it as a therapy, because there is this limitation of the unseen subtle body,
Yes,
which
that's
they will
true.
not subscribe to.
And modern science demands that it should work on everyone in the same way.
No, not
which-
necessarily. See, even your chemical drugs, your pharmaceutical industry. I mean, it works on different people in different ways. The same tablet may not have the same effect. That's not the case. The point is that the research cannot be substantiated because the subtle body is involved, and that is where the limitation comes in.
Yes, completely understood, Guruji. What clarity we got. Now the next question is from Sirisha.
Guruji, we have a question from Charu Tukral. The question is, it is sometimes said that people with mental health issues
Yeah.
are those evolved souls that are now lost from their path in this lifetime and are unable to manage the different dynamics of this reality. So, is it true? If no, are there spiritual explanations behind mental health issues, since buddhi is an important aspect to move forward in spiritual path? If yes, how can their path be corrected? And how can they be how can they be brought back to the so-called reality of this question? There are three questions here
Yeah,
actually.
I know. But I'll answer the first one.
Yeah.
No, definitely, people with mental health are not highly evolved souls, and not necessarily that all mental health issue people are great sages and saints having mental problems. No, that is not, definitely not the case. There is very little link between mental health issues and spiritual evolution as such. Rare occasions there may be where a highly spiritually advanced person or an evolved person may seem like a little off. But that is not a mental health issue. They are just a little crazy because their way of thinking is different, their attachment to the world is different. So they seem a little crazy. But proper mental health patients have problems with their emotional and mental well-being. And they have nothing to do with being evolved or not evolved. I mean, that's a completely separate issue.
Right.
They're not
I
sick.
think no, people get mistaken when normal no, people with mental issues
Yeah.
hallucinate about gods and goddesses, and they seem to be hearing their voices and seeing their visions,
Exactly.
and they completely like no, misunderstand here.
Yeah, they misunderstand. So mental health issues are very different and very specific, and they could be for a number of reasons. I mean, they could be because they're highly emotional, they're mentally disturbed, they've had very bad experiences in life. Sometimes they're very weak. I mean, as personalities, they're weak personalities. They can't cope up with the world. You know, they can't cope up with the pressures of the world, and relationships. They have relationship issues. Sometimes they're born with slight mental problems like autism or so some handicap,
ADHD or some
ADHD or some kind of mental handicap. So those have to be treated
Appropriately and
appropriately. Yeah,
separately, yes.
absolutely, absolutely.
So there is no direct link between
There's no link. There's no link between mental health and spirituality.
and spirituality.
But yeah, sometimes you feel these highly evolved souls are a little crazy and they
They
act
appear
little
crazy
They
to
appear crazy to us.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that they have mental health issues.
Ramakrishna Paramahansa was called a madman because he would
Exactly.
be talking to Ma Kali all the time and
Yeah.
treating her to be the real entity. But his situation comes from a very different,
Very different.
experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And outwardly they look same, but inwardly
True.
it's a
True.
huge difference.
True.
So Guruji, to the answer to the how can they be brought back is that you just
No,
go for
people
the
with
right
mental health issues have to have proper expert treatment.
Yes.
You can't. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, whether it's a psychologist,
available,
psychiatrist,
Right.
or a counselor, or whatever it is, or even for that matter, allopathic medication. But of course, it has its own effects, side effects. But they need proper treatment.
And at times, bringing them back completely to normalcy.
Again, normalcy is
Depending on
is
Depending on
severity and what
severity
is
and-
normal for them.
yeah. What is normal for them?
Are these cases again heavily karmic, Guruji? Because I see a lot of suffering here
Yeah.
for themselves and also for family members.
It's
Or what
sometimes
experience?
karmic, but it's sometimes also to take certain lessons, learn certain lessons, and take certain
Lessons, that's right.
experiences for both the patient and the people around.
Family also.
Yeah, the family also. Yes,
Because for them to deal with.
they have to deal with them 24/7, and that's quite a challenge. It's quite a challenge.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you so much for joining in today, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.